unplanned meeting. Joining our discussion now is Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee. What would you want to know in a confirmation hearing from Tulsi Gabbard about this meeting?
Well, Lawrence, the story in the Washington Post is her staff trying to figure out why the meeting happened, whether it was 90 minutes or 3 hours. That's not the question. The question is, why in God's name did the meeting happen to begin with? What does a DNI need to be? A DNI, and I've known a bunch of them, a Director of National Intelligence, needs to be prudent, careful, truthful, a sense of integrity, a sense of risk. There's a reason why it's a bad idea to meet with Assad at all, whether it's 90 minutes or 2 minutes. Why? Because there can be photographs that he will use to say, look, an American congresswoman supports me, because there may be a compromise of that congressperson. There's 1,000 reasons. And again, it doesn't matter whether it was 2 minutes, 30 minutes, 90 minutes, or 3 hours. What matters is that it shows a almost grossly negligent naivete about how a brutal murderer, Assad, could use her presence in his service. Now, that's before we even get into the many conspiracy theories that Tulsi Gabbard has promoted over time, before we get into the fact that she has completely changed her tune on things like Edward Snowden, who she introduced legislation to pardon, and now she says Edward Snowden did a terrible thing, to her treatment of FISA. What emerges here is a portrait of somebody who will quirkily do and say anything in the moment, and in this particular moment, in order to get the next glittery high office. And I can tell you, as somebody who's been involved in intelligence for a very long time, that this is not the attribute we need in our senior most intelligent chief.
Over many decades, different people, usually not members of Congress, have visited controversial places that are adversarial to the United States, and you could see the theory of what they had in mind about why they were doing that. I can't. Can you figure out any rationale for why she was doing this? No member of Congress had been to Syria in 6 years at that time.
Yeah, and Lawrence, let's be really discerning and discriminating about what we mean here. Bill Burns, as director of CIA, went and saw Vladimir Putin right before his attack on Ukraine. Bill Burns was in the Middle East to negotiate indirectly with Hamas. Enormously sophisticated diplomats who are trained over many decades, and what the downside is of appearing with bad people are the ones that do those sorts of things. As a junior member of the United States Congress without any diplomatic training or any security briefings, it is a profoundly risky thing to do. And again, it speaks to whether somebody has the judgment, the prudence, and maybe even the character to hold arguably one of the most sensitive posts in the United States government. And I think the answer on that is pretty clear.
Congressman Jim Himes, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.